Getting reviews is an important part of your digital strategy, or at least it should be, because many people read reviews and 89% of consumers are very likely or fairly likely to use a business that responds to all of its reviews. So not only do you need to get reviews, but you also need to respond to your reviews. And more consumers use Google to evaluate local businesses than ever before. In 2021, 81% did, but the year before, just 63% did. And a lot of those consumers are reading the reviews that you have, that people have left about your business on your Google My Business page that shows up right on the right-hand column when somebody does a search for your business. So getting positive reviews, getting high-quality positive reviews is an important element of your digital marketing strategy. And in this episode, I will talk about how you can get those reviews, how you can respond to those reviews, and then I'll also give you some guides on responding to negative reviews, because those are the ones that, makes your blood boil or maybe makes you really upset. And you really need to have a strategy for how you're going to respond to those negative reviews. Not only that, but I also give you some best practices on using reviews to your advantage. And then also, what are some tools out there that can help you automate the review acquisition process so that you are filtering out reviews that maybe shouldn't be on there, and you are using reviews to improve your business and get you to the next level in your business growth. So tune in to this episode. We'll talk about all things related to getting reviews, managing reviews, and using reviews to your advantage. Welcome to the latest episode of Corner Your Market. I'm your host, Sailesh Kimire. In this podcast, I talk about all things digital marketing, from website design and development to SEO and PPC, as well as paid advertising, email marketing, social media, and anything in between. If you're a small business owner, a marketing manager in a company, or an entrepreneur, this podcast is for you. So tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. You'll gain some practical insights, new strategies, tactics, and tools that will help you grow your business. To subscribe, go to corneryourmarketpodcast.com and select the podcast app of your choice. Then you can hit subscribe within those apps. That again is corneryourmarketpodcast.com. Also, don't forget to like and share our individual episodes. You can also leave a review in the app once you've listened to one of our episodes. Getting customer reviews and having a robust review strategy, or online reputation, as they say in the business, is an integral part of digital marketing and a digital strategy for any business. Let me just share some statistics with you from Bright Local, a website that tracks these kinds of things, and I'll drop the link to this in the show notes as well. But more consumers are reading online reviews than ever before. In 2021, 77% always or regularly read them when browsing for local businesses. It's up from 60% in 2020. So that's a pretty big increase in the number of people that actually read online reviews, which is an important number to keep an eye on. I can also see here that 67% will consider leaving a review for a positive experience, while 40% will consider leaving a review for a negative experience. That's a little bit shocking to me. I thought people with a negative experience were more likely to leave a review than those with a positive experience. So in some ways, that number is actually a very positive sign. That means if you service your clients well, there's a higher chance that they'll go and post a positive review about your business or service, right? Also, here's another number. 89% of consumers are highly or fairly likely to use a business that responds to all of its online reviews, not just some, but all of them. And then 57% say they would be not very or not at all likely to use a business that doesn't respond to reviews at all. So staying silent is not a good solution at all. It's not a good strategy. More consumers use Google to evaluate local businesses than ever before. In 2021, 81% did, but the year before that, just 63% did. So Google plays an important role in your online reputation management as well. I guess that's a given these days. But as you can see, getting reviews, getting positive reviews, and even having some negative ones isn't a bad thing. And there definitely needs to be a strategy in place to getting that and managing that and using it to your advantage. And that's what we're going to talk about in this episode. In this episode, I want to talk to you about how to get reviews, how to respond to reviews, guides to responding to negative reviews, and then also give you some best practices in using reviews to your advantage, as well as tools for automating the review acquisition process. So let's get started. You work hard to get customers and service them and get them to like your product, and also keep them happy. So you really should have a reviews acquisition strategy so you can spread the word. That's a lot of hard work on your end. So we definitely want to have a strategy that allows you to get your word out, right? So review acquisition could take many forms. I mean, the most obvious one to some people might be, well, put a request on your website, include it on your email, and things like that. Those are all good places to have a section asking for people for reviews. But there are some other ways you could do it as well. You could include QR codes on your products, on your packaging, on your receipt, on your checkout counter, wherever there's an interaction with the customer as they're leaving your establishment or once the service has concluded. That way, it's a fresh reminder right as they have completed the consumption of your service or your product. There's a place and an avenue for them to go to write their review. So that's definitely one area. The other thing that I really like is that we actually make a concerted effort, the old-fashioned way, to just ask people for reviews. And in doing so, you can also educate, encourage customers to write the reviews. You could maybe ask them to share their experience because it will help other people better understand the service that they just received or the product that they just used, so that the other people can make a informed decision about where to go and get that service or buy that product, right? But the main thing is you do need to make it easy. You need to make it quick, and you need to make it very convenient for the person that you're asking to do the review. And also, going back to my earlier point, you can also position it a little bit as a community service in some ways. If you think about it, you're helping the community better understand the service or the product. That way, they make a better informed decision. So anyway, I think I made that point twice. So anyway, I just want to reiterate that though. But to keep in mind though, as you educate them, try to see if you can get them to share details of their experience and not just go and give you a 5-star rating, which is great. But it's just, in this day and age where everybody's getting 5-star ratings or 4-star ratings, a little bit more meat behind it is always beneficial to you, beneficial to them, and also beneficial to the person reading the review. So what I mean by that is, like if somebody came to your dental practice and you took care of them especially well, you gave them honest service, you gave them good service, and you gave them all the details of what needs to happen, and they got good service out of it, maybe have them share that so that it's a little bit more specific. The doctor evaluated my XYZ, really gave me good resources to think about it, how to evaluate it, and how to address it, and then also treated me for it. So I would recommend this doctor for XYZ. That's a very strong review. In addition to the 5-star, a detailed review like that could go a long ways towards helping you and also helping other people make an informed decision as well. So we'll talk a little bit more about this strategy later on in the podcast, and also talk a little bit more about the tools you can use to get reviews. But for now, the big question is, where do you ask folks to give their reviews, right? I think I cited a statistic earlier about Google being the place that most people go to evaluate services and things like that. So for me, my preference is Google for a number of reasons. One is, like that number from Bright Local, consumers use Google to evaluate local businesses, it's now 63% versus 81% in 2021. It's in 2020, it was 63%. Now it's 81% in 2021. So it's jumped up quite a bit, and we're already in 2023. So that number could be a lot higher. But what I mean by that is, if you get reviews on Google, there's a couple of advantages there. One is it becomes easier to use that review for search rankings, meaning Google does use reviews to in its search rankings algorithm, and they've stated that. I've read some articles in Search Engine Journal in the past that talks about that, where reviews are factored into the Google search algorithm. And then the other thing is, a lot of people go to Google to do searches, right? So if that's the case, then the review needs to be right there when they do the search. I'm not saying that other avenues are not useful or cannot be useful. In fact, consumers' use of Yelp is 53%, and then Facebook is 48%, and Apple Maps is 13%. Meaning that's where people go to get their reviews. So, at least that's where they're getting their reviews. So it's not to say that you can't have reviews in other places. I certainly would recommend. If you're a restaurant or that kind of food services, having something in Yelp, that could be very useful. Facebook, if you're trying to target a certain demographic, or if you have a certain type of business that you're promoting on Facebook, then obviously having good reviews on Facebook is very helpful as well. And Apple Maps, obviously, we all have iPhones. A lot of us have iPhones. We do searches for businesses on the Maps app, and then when we see a service, it's good to see what the rankings are, ratings are right there and then, and not have to go to another app to get that, right? So I think there's value in getting reviews in all of these, but obviously Google is king when it comes to things like this. I certainly recommend our clients to have some kind of a strategy where you're getting your reviews in a lot of these places as well. So going back to an earlier point, which I think I alluded to, but many are getting reviews, right? And so you do not need to have a review strategy where you can stand out from the competition. So being more specific in your reviews, being a little bit more detailed usually helps. Timely responses to good reviews helps, things like that. So try to figure out a way to make your review stand out a little bit, because lots of people are getting reviews. In terms of the benefits of reviews, I think we inherently understand the value of getting reviews, but for those of us maybe that are holdouts or maybe need a refresher, getting a review is an endorsement from somebody else, right? So by and large, that is tremendously powerful. It builds your authority. It increases your sales and conversions. I've seen data to that effect. I can't really quote anything right off the top of my head, but I have definitely seen data to that effect. There's also social proof, which is a big part of the journey for many people. What do other people say? If there's 85% of the reviews are positive and only 5 or 10% are negative, that's strong social proof, especially if you have a high volume of reviews that shows you the benefit of those reviews as well. And then ranking higher on Google, I've already kind of alluded to that a little bit, but anyway, so I don't want to reiterate that point again, but ranking higher in Google search is definitely a benefit for having reviews, especially if you have those reviews in Google. Now, there are certain types of businesses that benefit more than others when it comes to reviews. And again, this is information from Bright Local. The top businesses that benefit from, where reviews play an important or very important role in consumer decisions, are service businesses and tradespersons, where 84% said reviews are important or very important in their decision, and care services, 83% said reviews are important or very important in their decision, and then healthcare companies, 82% said that reviews are important or very important in their decision, and rightly so, because these are very, like you hire a person to come and fix your water heater, you definitely want to know what other people's experiences have been, because that's a complicated process, right? So I can understand tradespeople and service businesses. And then healthcare is the same thing. If you're going to go see a dentist or you're going to take your pet to a veterinarian, you want to make sure that those reviews are good for the particular place that you're going to. So definitely these reviews play a very important role in getting in the customer acquisition process and in the customer journey. So definitely keep that in mind as well. It's not to say that other industries are not important, but those ones just stood out quite a bit as I was researching this part of the content. Now, in terms of responding to reviews, right? Getting reviews is important. You got the reviews. Now what do you do? Responding to reviews. I think I mentioned a statistic not too long ago about the importance of responding to all reviews. I think it might seem daunting. I mean, it can be daunting if you're getting thousands of reviews a week or a month. But if you're in your business, most businesses that I've worked with, I don't think they get thousands of reviews a month. So it's not a terribly daunting process. in terms of responding to all these reviews, I would say most businesses, you're probably looking at 15, 20 reviews a month, maybe. And, that breaks down to 2 or 3 a week. So you definitely should, have a time on Friday, maybe, where you look at all the positive reviews and you respond to everybody. And it doesn't have to be a lengthy, long response. It could just be, hey, thanks for coming in. Thank you for the kind words. Glad you enjoyed the service. Would love to see you back again. Really appreciate the fact that you enjoyed XYZ if they gave very specific feedback, right? It doesn't have to be too long, but it definitely goes a long ways because a lot of people are looking to see how you respond to reviews as well and not just see the reviews. Now, where it gets a little bit tricky is when you have negative reviews. And especially in a small business where maybe you are the owner or you are very close to the service or to the product, and all of a sudden, you get a negative review. And obviously, you're very proud of your work. You really take pride in the work that you do. And to have that negative review can certainly be it could be discouraging, and it could be something that maybe gets you a little bit emotionally riled up and things like that, right? So, first thing to do is to take a deep breath. The world is not ending, and nothing. Nobody died. So let's take a deep breath. And let's type out a response. Let's do it very professionally. Let's do it very calmly. Let's collect our thoughts. And if it takes you, if you still see yourself getting really emotional, type it all out. Do it in Word. Save it. Come back to it, a couple hours later, or maybe go on a walk, come back, and then maybe the next day take a look at it again, and then make sure that it's professional, and then post it, right? And then in the actual review, the response itself, you should obviously acknowledge the experience of the person that left the review. You should acknowledge what they've experienced. You don't need to apologize, but you just need to acknowledge. And then you want to do anything that you can to try to take that conversation offline as much as possible. So you want to be able to say something like, hey, so sorry for this. Not so sorry. I totally, I would love to take this, have a conversation with you. Maybe we can have a phone call. Maybe you could come back to the store. Maybe we could discuss this in person. Let's see what we can do to fix your issue and see what we can do to make this situation satisfactory to you. And then, that should usually do it. And honestly, most people reading the reviews are very reasonable folks. They're going to see a negative review, then they're going to see a very professional, kind, conciliatory response, and they're going to say, hey, this is a business that I'm willing to do business with. Now, if this person that you've been engaging with, responds to you and you resolve the issue, then I would also recommend that you ask them to, post a follow-up to that review as well, to say, to basically say, hey, this issue was resolved, and things like that. So that can always be an extra bonus to the whole thing, right? So that's kind of how you want to respond to negative reviews. When it comes to removing reviews, I have received requests from certain clients and certain people saying, hey, we got this bad review. Can you remove it for us? Can you help us get it removed, and things like that. Typically, it's very difficult to get a review removed from Google or Yelp or any of these places. They don't like to get involved. They don't want to be, in that he said, she said mindset. And they also don't want to, be on the bad side of the person that left the review, because that creates a culture of not leaving reviews as well. So, but there are extreme cases in certain situations where, like if there's hate speech, if there are threats of violence, and things like that. And these are all spelled out in their terms of service and their reviews policy and things like that. If there's a violation like that, you can definitely appeal the review, cite the violation, and Google and these companies will remove the review if it meets the threshold of their judgment. Again, still up to them. There's nothing you can do about it. But in certain situations where maybe there has been misinformation, or maybe the customer never came to your store and you have proof of that, or they're not a person that bought the product or that they consumed the product, and you have proof of that, you can also cite the misinformation or misrepresentation in their reviews policy and ask these Google and some of these other providers to remove the review. And I have been successful a few times on that. So the hope is, it's not all lost. there are ways to kind of get those removed and things like that. So, but that shouldn't be a part of your strategy. That should be a last resort where it truly does violate the reviews policy, or it truly does misrepresent or misinform or outright lies and things like that. So, and you have to have proof for it. So, those are the situations where you can do that. Now, there's an interesting website called reviewtrackers.com that has some interesting examples of businesses that have turned negative reviews into an advantage, or at least they have responded very well. I would go to that website and read through some of those examples, because these examples are from a range of industries, from healthcare and financial services to food services and travel, and I think it covers quite a bit in between. So I've read some examples there, and I think you can learn from it, and I think it could give you some insights into maybe how you could use, I'm not saying you're going to use a negative review to your advantage, but at least turn the situation around to your advantage and put yourself in a much better light than maybe what just leaving a standard review response might. So just thought I'd share. That's reviewtrackers.com. Now, I touched on this a little bit, but using reviews to your advantage, there are ways to use reviews for your advantage. One of the things that we do for our clients is we embed those reviews, especially from Google. And if you're working on a WordPress site, there are plugins that allows you to embed those reviews on your homepage or on your landing page or different parts of your product page and things like that, so that there's social proof and validation as the user is going through your website. And that's definitely one way of using these reviews to your advantage, right? Because you're spending a lot of effort in getting these reviews, and you're making a concerted effort. Let's use it to boost your credibility, boost your authenticity, boost your conversion, and improve your business overall. Now, there's a technique of using schema markup on WordPress using plugins that allows you to pull in Google reviews into your search listings. It's a little bit technical and a little bit complicated, but it is something that can be done. And maybe I'll spend a whole episode on this one, but you can basically pull your pull your reviews into your organic listing. And you could do the same thing for Google paid search as well. So if you're running a paid search campaign and you want to bring your reviews and your ratings directly into the listing so that it improves click-through rates and it improves, your conversion, you can certainly do that as well. And obviously, you want to have a good ratio of positive reviews compared to negative reviews overall. So it's a good idea if you have 85%, 90% positive reviews and you want to use that. So that can definitely be useful. But another area outside of that is you can use the reviews as feedback for your overall service, right? I mean, read through them as you're going through it, both positive and negative reviews, and figure out ways in which maybe you can glean some insights into improving your business or your service. Like if somebody leaves a review saying, hey, the doctor was great, but the staff was not, and I really didn't like the way they talked to me and the way that they explained the charges to me, and they seemed like they were in a hurry. They didn't answer my questions, things like that. That's room for improvement. They might have still left you a 4-star, maybe even a 5-star review because the overall experience was positive, but there might be some instances where they did not feel like the whole process was 5-star. So I think there can be really a lot of insights for you to learn and to get that information so that you could use that to your advantage as well. All right, so that's on using reviews to your advantage. The last piece here is on automating the review acquisition process. And this one's a little bit interesting because there's a lot of tools out there that can automate the whole process in terms of getting the reviews posted, getting the reviews on your website or wherever you're trying to get your reviews. And this is where it becomes very helpful. I recently was talking to a friend of mine who was mentioning that they had a great visit with a dentist and the process was great. And then the dentist even at the end said, hey, how was your experience? And then asked if this person would be willing to post a review, right? And then this person, my friend, was obviously like, yeah, I will. I'll post a review. I had a great experience. Why wouldn't I post a review? But here's what happened. They walked out of that office and they totally forgot. Right? So this is where the automated tools, these tools can be helpful, is you can mark that conversation with your office staff if you're a dental office, and then mark that in the software, and then a text and an email reminder gets sent out to to that person, right? Because that person explicitly said they wouldn't mind writing a review. So those are the kinds of tools that you can use. Obviously, these tools have automated ways of sending out reminders, sending out text requests and emails and things like that for people to write a review. So that's certainly available. They also have a way of aggregating reviews so you can get an analysis, a deep dive into the mix of reviews you have. You could rate reviews and all that kind of stuff. And I know that some of these tools, I don't know if they still have them, but they have a way of evaluating reviews as well. So they will ask the reviewer their overall experience. So if that reviewer gave them a 5-star, then anything that reviewer says gets automatically posted. But let's say they give you a 3-star or a 2-star, and then they write a long response, then in that case, then maybe it goes into a holding pattern where you have an opportunity to review things, and you have an opportunity to reach out to that patient or to that customer or to that client and maybe make the situation right. And then maybe update that review before it gets posted, right? So I know some of the tools have that. I haven't used a lot of the tools, but I have used one or two, and I've seen some pretty interesting features in there. And I think they could be a very important part of your overall review strategy. So I would definitely research them and see which ones would make sense to have and to use, if any at all. So take a look. So anyway, well, we're kind of coming short on time now. I just want to wrap up. The things that we talked about today was on acquiring reviews, managing reviews, and using reviews to your advantage. So the topics that we covered today is how to get reviews, how to respond to reviews, and then I presented a guide on maybe how you could respond to negative reviews and gave you some resources there. Also talked a little bit about best practices for using reviews to your advantage so that you can show off your great reviews and things like that. And then also we talked a little bit about the tools that you can use to automate the review acquisition process. So that should really give you a foundation for using and crafting a digital, a review strategy for your overall digital marketing. And so with that, I leave you and I say happy marketing. Enjoy getting reviews, managing reviews, and using reviews for your advantage. If you're a small business owner, a marketing manager at a company, or an entrepreneur, please tune in weekly. You'll gain some insights, tips, tricks, and be a bit more enlightened when it comes to digital marketing. I promise you, if you implement the strategies, tactics, and tools I've discussed in this podcast, your business will definitely grow. Please subscribe to this podcast. You can do so by going to corneryourmarketpodcast.com and subscribe with the listening platform of your choice. That URL again is corneryourmarketpodcast.com. Don't forget to like and share this episode with your friends and colleagues. Also, don't forget to leave a review. Those mean a lot to me and can help others that would benefit from the information to share. Finally, I would love to hear from you. I love getting listener emails. So if you have questions, feedback, or any general comment about the topics I discuss on this podcast, feel free to send me an email. I will be sure to share and discuss your feedback on the air if it will benefit our listening audience. You can write to me at connect@corneryourmarketpodcast.com. Just put listener comment in the subject line. That email again is connect@corneryourmarketpodcast.com. And again, please put listener comment in the subject line. Thanks for listening today. I look forward to being back next week. Until then, be good and do good.